Midnight. The grave is fresh. You dig. The body is worth 10 pounds. This is your life as a resurrection woman. The earth here is soft. They buried her only this morning. You can still smell the flowers they left, wilting now, rotting like everything eventually does in this city. Your hands are black with mud. Your back aches. Your ears are tuned to every sound: a branch snap, a dog bark, a lantern swinging in the distance. You don't breathe unless you have to, and you don't stop digging. Britain, somewhere between 1780 and 1830. The Industrial Revolution is remaking the world: smoke, steel, progress. But beneath that progress, in the churchyards and the back alleys, something else is happening. Something no one speaks of in polite company. You are not a murderer. You want to be clear about that, at least not yet. You are something the newspapers call a resurrectionist. What you call yourself in the dark hours before dawn, when the guilt crawls in, is simply surviving. You live in the warrens of Edinburgh, or London, or Glasgow. It doesn't much matter. Poverty smells the same everywhere. You have children, perhaps, a sick mother, a husband who drinks or who died or who disappeared into one of the factories and came out hollow. The honest work washing, hawking fish, picking rags, it pays pennies. Pennies don't fill bellies. But a surgeon named Knox, or Brooks, or Cooper, he will pay you 10 pounds for a fresh body, no questions asked. And so here you are. To understand what you do, you have to understand what they need. Medicine is changing. Surgeons are no longer bloodletting quacks, whispering prayers over the dying. They are scientists now, or want to be. They are cutting into bodies, tracing the architecture of muscle and nerve, mapping the human machine. And to do that, they need bodies. Dozens of them, hundreds as the anatomy schools multiply and the student fees roll in. The law gives them almost nothing. The Murder Act of 1752 decreed that only the bodies of executed murderers could be handed over for dissection. A grim irony: you had to kill someone to legally teach others how to save lives. But executions are finite. Demand is not. So the surgeons do what men of money have always done when the law inconveniences them. They create a market. They don't ask where the bodies come from. They don't look at the dirt still packed under your fingernails. They hand you an envelope. You hand them a sack. Everyone understands the arrangement. And that arrangement, that quiet, profitable conspiracy between respectable medicine and desperate poverty, is what pulls you out of bed at midnight and sends you into the dark with a spade. You noticed something early on. Men who loitered near churchyards got watched. Suspicious characters in long coats drew the sexton's eye. But a woman in mourning black, weeping softly over a grave, pressing a handkerchief to her face, she gets sympathy, she gets distance, she gets left alone. You attended funerals you had no right to attend. You memorized which graves were freshest, noted which families were too poor to hire watchers. You brought flowers, a small performance, but effective. Sometimes your companion played the grieving sister. Sometimes you played it yourself. Grief, you discovered, is the perfect disguise. People look away from it out of decency. And when you returned at night, the men who dug, you who watched, you who distracted, you who negotiated with the surgeons, it was a team. And you were often the one who made the whole operation possible. Women in this trade weren't common knowledge. That was precisely the point. You never dig down the full length of the coffin. That would take hours, and hours means exposure. You dig at the head end only. 3, 4 feet down. Your muscles burning, your breath visible in the cold air. When the spade hits wood, something inside you goes very still. A coldness that has nothing to do with the temperature. You pry the lid with a hooked iron bar, just the top half, just enough. The crack of the wood is obscene in the silence. You freeze. Wait. Nothing. Then you reach in. You loop a rope around the corpse's shoulders, under the arms. You pull. The body comes up stiff, resistant, as if it doesn't want to go, and perhaps some part of you understands that. You strip it of its shroud, because taking the shroud is theft of property. Taking the body itself, bizarrely, is not. There is no law against stealing a corpse, not technically, not yet. The shroud goes back in the hole. You refill the earth. You smooth it. You replace the flowers if there were flowers. By dawn, the grave looks undisturbed, and somewhere across the city, a lamp is still burning in an anatomy theater. £10. Think about what that means. A farm laborer earns perhaps 8 or 10 shillings a week. A skilled seamstress might clear 15 if she's lucky and her eyes hold out. You, in a single night, can earn what honest work would take 3 months to produce. Fresh bodies command the highest prices. The surgeons need them before decomposition makes them useless for teaching. A corpse more than a week old fetches less. Children, regrettably, are priced by the inch. Unusual specimens, deformities, particular diseases can fetch a premium from surgeons chasing specific anatomical knowledge. It is a market. Like any other market. You tell yourself that. The danger is part of the price. You are paid for your nerve as much as your labor, and for a time a year, 2 years, the money is enough to make you stop thinking too carefully about where it comes from, but only for a time. The men who buy from you are not monsters. That is what makes it complicated. Astley Cooper, one of the most celebrated surgeons in England, openly testifies before Parliament that he could have anybody in the country exhumed. Such is the reach of the Resurrection Network. He is knighted. He dines with royalty. His knowledge was purchased in muddy churchyards from people like you, and no one in the lecture hall thinks to mention it. The anatomy schools of Edinburgh are among the finest in the world. Students travel from Europe, from America, to study there. The dissection tables are never empty for long. Demand creates supply. Supply creates you. No questions asked. That phrase is the engine of everything. You hear about Burke and Hare in 1828, and something cold settles permanently in your chest. William Burke and William Hare, Irish laborers in Edinburgh, began as resurrectionists like anyone else. But waiting for people to die was slow business. And Robert Knox's anatomy school always needed more. So they stopped waiting. 16 people, at least. Suffocated, their chests pressed down, leaving no visible marks. Sold to Knox for £8 to £10 apiece. One of the victims was Mary Patterson, 18 years old. The medical students recognized her. Some of them had known her alive on the streets. They said nothing. Knox continued dissecting. When Burke is finally hanged, the crowd that gathers is enormous. And here is the detail that should stop you cold. His own body is handed over for public dissection. Thousands queue to see it. His skeleton is displayed at the University of Edinburgh to this day. You hear all of this and you ask yourself, was Knox's no questions asked policy a convenience or a license? And you wonder how different you really are from Hare, who turned king's evidence and walked free, who lived somewhere the newspapers couldn't find. You wonder what the difference is between digging up the dead and making them. The law cannot charge you with stealing a body, but it can charge you with disturbing the peace, theft of the shroud, trespass. And the sentences when they come are hard: transportation, prison, the pillory. The mob on occasion is worse than any court. Families begin to fight back. The wealthy build mort-safes, iron cages bolted over the grave, impossible to remove without a key the family holds. Poorer families take shifts watching through the night, armed with what they have. Some sexton offices rig spring guns in the churchyard, iron traps. You know 2 men who lost fingers. Every operation now carries a new calculation. How watched is this grave? How long ago was the burial? How fast can you move? Paranoia becomes your constant companion. You study faces. You memorize who was at the churchyard and who looked at you too long. You change routes. You change the hours you work. You sleep badly. Every morning you wake and you think, today is the day they catch me, and one morning you know it, you will be right. There is a night you don't speak about. The grave is fresh, routine. You begin digging. And when you pull the body up, in the weak light of a shuttered lantern, you recognize her. Maybe it's a woman from your street, a face from the market. It doesn't matter, you know her. And for a moment, the whole machinery of your life stops. The money, the surgeon, the rope in your hands, it all goes quiet. There is just this woman who was alive last week, and your hands are on her, and somewhere, her children are sleeping, and they think she is in the ground. She will not be in the ground come morning. You put her in the sack. You refill the hole. You cannot afford not to. This is what they do not tell you about survival. It does not come clean. It comes with a cost that compounds. Every face you remember. Every family you've watched weep at a grave you intended to empty. You carry all of them, and they are heavier than any body you've dragged across a churchyard. You tell yourself the surgeons will learn something, that some future patient will live because of this woman's body. Sometimes you almost believe it. Almost. Burke is hanged in 1829. The public horror is volcanic. Parliament, which had ignored the anatomy shortage for decades, suddenly finds itself able to act. The Anatomy Act passes in 1832. It is, in the language of reform, a compromise. Workhouses and hospitals can now release unclaimed bodies, the bodies of the poor who die in public institutions, to anatomy schools. Legal supply, finally. The surgeons no longer need you. What the act really means, though surgeons don't say it plainly, is that the poor are now the official supply, not executed criminals, not random graves, the paupers, those who cannot afford a private burial, whose families cannot claim them in time. The trade collapses almost overnight. The price drops to nothing. The surgeons stop answering your knocks. You're left with everything you did, and no one paying you for it anymore. The grave is filled. The flowers are replaced. The city doesn't know what happened here tonight. A woman walks away through the dark, her coat heavy with mud, her pockets heavy with something she hasn't counted yet. She doesn't look back. She never looks back. In the morning, a family will come to grieve. The earth will be undisturbed. They will weep and pray and eventually go home. And in a warm, lamplit room across the city, a surgeon will begin his lecture. He will not say where the knowledge came from. He never does. There is more on this channel. Stories like this one lived at the edges of history, where the darkness is real and the humanity is realer. Subscribe if you want to keep going. Leave a comment below. I read every one of them and tell me, who are the sin eaters in your world today? The next video is already waiting for you.